colorful and wicked. The weird odors of it still fill my nostrils. The sinister portrait of it is still before my eyes. It is the Chinatown of London, Limehouse. Down in the dregs of the town, with West India Dock Road for its spinal column, it lies, redolent of ways that are dark and tricks that are vain. Not only the heathen Chinese so peculiar shuffles through its dim-lit alleys, but the scum of the earth, of many colors and of many climes, the Arab and the Hindu, the Malayan and the Jap, black men from the Congo and fair men from Scandinavia. These you may meet there, the outpourings of all the ships that sail the seven seas. There many drunken beasts, with their pay in their pockets, seek each his favorite sin. And for those who love most the opium, there is at all too regular intervals the sign of the open lamp. We went there, Colonel Hughes and I, up and down the narrow causeway, yellow at intervals with the light from gloomy shops, dark mostly because of the tightly closed shutters through which only thin jets found their way. We walked until we came and stood at last in shadow outside the black doorway of Harry Stanley's so-called restaurant. We waited 10-15 minutes. Then a man came down the causeway and paused before that door. There was something familiar in his jaunty walk. Then the faint glow of the lamp that was the indication of Harry San's real business lit his pale face, and I knew that I had seen him last in the cool evening at Interlaken, where Limehouse could not have lived a moment, with the Jungfrau frowning down upon it. "Enwright?" whispered Hughes. "Not a doubt of it," said I. "Good," he replied with fervor. And now another man shuffled down the street and stood suddenly straight and waiting before the colonel. "Stay with him," said Hughes softly. "Don't let him get out of your sight." "Very good, sir," said the man, and saluting he passed on up the stairs and whistled softly at that black, depressing door. The clock above the Millwall docks was striking 11 as the colonel and I caught a bus that should carry us back to a brighter, happier London. Hughes spoke but seldom on that ride, and repeating his advice that I humor Inspector Bray on the morrow, he left me in the Strand. So, my lady, here I sit in my study, waiting for that most important day that is shortly to dawn. A full evening, you must admit. A woman with the perfume of lilacs about her has threatened that unless I lie I shall encounter consequences most unpleasant. A handsome young lieutenant has begged me to tell that same lie for the honor of his family, and thus condemn him to certain arrest and imprisonment. And I have been down into hell to night and seen Archibald Enwright of Interlaken conniving with the devil. I presume I should go to bed, but I know I cannot sleep. Tomorrow is to be, beyond all question, a red letter day in the matter of the captain's murder. And once again, against my will, I am down to play a leading part. The symphony of this great gray sad city is a mere hum in the distance now, for it is nearly midnight. I shall mail this letter to you, post it, I should say, since I am in London, and then I shall wait in my dim rooms for the dawn. And as I wait I shall be thinking not always of the captain, or his brother, or Hughes, or Limehouse and Enwright, but often, oh, very often, of you. In my last letter I scoffed at the idea of a great war, but when we came back from Limehouse tonight the papers told us that the Kaiser had signed the order to mobilize. Austria in, Serbia in, Germany, Russia and France in. Hughes tells me that England is shortly to follow, and I suppose there is no doubt of it. It is a frightful thing, this future that looms before us, and I pray that for you at least it may hold only happiness. For, my lady, when I write good night, I speak it aloud as I write, and there is in my voice more than I dare tell you of now. The Agony Column Man. Not unwelcome to the violet eyes of the girl from Texas were the last words of this letter, read in her room that Sunday morning. But the lines predicting England's early entrance into the war recalled to her mind a most undesirable contingency. On the previous night, when the war extras came out confirming the forecast of his favorite bootblack, her usually calm father had shown signs of panic. He was not a man slow to act, And she knew that, putty though he was in her hands in most matters which he did not regard as important, he could also be firm where he thought firmness necessary. America looked even better to him than usual, and he had made up his mind to go there immediately. There was no use in arguing with him. At this point there came a knock at her door, and her father entered. One look at his face, red, perspiring, and decidedly unhappy, served to cheer his daughter. "Been down to the steamship offices," he panted, mopping his bald head. "They're open today, just like it was a weekday. But they might as well be closed. There's nothing doing. Every boat's booked up to the rails. We can't get out of here for 2 weeks, maybe more." "I'm sorry," said his daughter. "No, you ain't. You're delighted. You think it's romantic to get caught like this. Wish I had the enthusiasm of youth." He fanned himself with a newspaper. "Lucky I went over to the express office yesterday and loaded up on gold. I reckon when the blow falls it'll be tolerable hard to cash checks in this man's town." "That was a good idea." "Ready for breakfast?" he inquired. "Quite ready," she smiled. They went below, she humming a song from a review while he glared at her. She was very glad they were to be in London a little longer. She felt she could not go with that mystery still unsolved. End of chapter 5.